yourself.
No, I don't want... Where is this doctor that you were talking about, Chief, here? You said that he was going to be here when I arrived.
I told you he'd be here shortly. Now, just relax.
I hope you understand that Dr. Kavanaugh volunteered to conduct this inquiry.
Well, do you expect a show of gratitude from me?
It wouldn't be misplaced.
And a little recognition of Michael Carr's efforts wouldn't hurt either. It was his idea to review this autopsy report. So if the results are as you're predicting...
Well, you see, that's what I don't like about this whole thing. You're all acting as if everything depends on this inquiry, on what Dr. Kavanaugh says when he finally arrives here. I say it just doesn't count.
There are times when the truth has to be established.
Look, I am Schuyler Whitney. That man that you are dragging up out of the grave is Jefferson Brown. I don't see how you can deny that after you heard that woman's confession.
Well, she's denied that confession, so you need this corroboration. Miles, how'd it go?
Answer's right here. Let's take a look at the photograph.
May I see it, Miles?
Oh, sure.
Yes, it's unmistakable.
As you can see, the scar is just below the left shoulder blade, shaped rather like a backwards question mark.
Exactly like the scar described in Jefferson Brown's medical records.
Which means there's no question mark about his identity or yours, Mr. Whitney.
So the whole time you thought I was on a cruise when I was really running for my life. Isn't that ironic?
I wish to heaven you had gone on a cruise.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should go on a boat and just get away from all this pressure.
This hardly seems the right time, Raven, with everything so unsettled.
Everything isn't unsettled. I told you that man is a fraud. He may look like my husband, but he is not Schuyler Whitney.
Raven...
I don't want to hear anything about my already admitting the truth. If I said anything that stupid, it was because I was out of my head and didn't know what I was saying. Is that understood? I'll get it. Hello? Oh, hi, Mike.
Raven, it's important that I talk to you. May we come over there right away?
Who is we?
Myself and, Schuyler Whitney.
Thank you.
Sure you don't want something sweet with that?
Yeah, that would go well with this.
Okay, tell me about your day. How was Dee Dee?
Well, when you ask about my day, then you ask about Dee Dee. Which do you want to know?
Well, how was she? I mean, you know I'm worried about her.
Yeah,
She was gloomy, wasn't she? I mean, Dee Dee has been gloomy all over the place.
Well,
I'll tell you, this whole thing is hopeless, hopeless. You know, the same between her and Calvin.
Well,
she's always depressed.
look, Mitzi.
Yeah?
If we're going to have a conversation, I have to be able to say some of the words.
Well, I know. Go ahead.
The trouble with Calvin? He's too decent. Why can't he be a cad like the rest of us?
Cliff, you are not a cad. Are you?
Well, I'm glad you don't think I am.
It's too bad Dee Dee couldn't fall in love with someone indecent.
Yeah, it's a shame.
And you know what else worries me?
What?
She's doing something on the rebound.
What do you mean?
She's writing Julius again.
Julius?
Yeah.
Dee Dee?
Jody! Hi, Pace. How are you? Oh, good. Hi, Cliff. Can I sit down for a minute?
Sure. Go ahead.
Thanks. Jody, how are you? How's Gavin?
Wait a second. You want to know how I am, and then you ask about Gavin?
Hold on, wait a moment. We've already been through this before. Don't get her started. Have you heard from him?
Yeah, he called this morning, and he really likes the people at the Playhouse.
Well, great. When's he coming back?
Pretty soon. See, what happened was when he got there, the play was already in rehearsals. This way, he didn't have to start from scratch.
How come?
Well, it turns out they had this director, but for some reason, he had to leave.
Well, that's not so bad. At least he'll be home sooner, right?
Boy, I'm glad. I really miss him.
Okay, I'll get your menu.
No, I don't need one. All I want is a soda. Anything.
Okay, soda, anything coming up.
You better have more than that, don't you think?
Well, no, I have an appointment at 6 o'clock.
Oh, with whom?
I don't know.
Wait a minute. You have an appointment at 6 o'clock and you don't know with whom?
Well, yeah, it's really like a mystery. Look at this.
Come on, you gotta be kidding.
No, I'm not. Read it.
Jody Travis, if you want to know the truth about the portrait, go to the Saracen Head Bookshop on Mortimer Place tomorrow evening at 6.
Come alone, or you learn nothing. Eridu.
Who sent this to you? Where'd you get this?
Who is this Eridu guy?
Well, I don't know if Eridu is a guy. See, Eridu is the word that's written on that portrait, and I'd like to find out what it means.
Jody, you know, there could be a real, wacko waiting for you or something, you know?
What makes you think there's anything mysterious about the portrait anyway?
Well, I've always thought there was something. I mean, just the way it turned up, and nobody knows where it came from or who the model was.
Well, you thought it was probably your great-great-great-grandmother.
Or your great-great-great cousin or something.
Yeah, but I don't know, and this person might. Anyway, I'm going to find out in about half an hour.
Oh, Jody, I mean, you're not going to go alone.
Well, that's what the note says, Mitzi.
Yeah, but that's dangerous. Does Miles and Nicole know about that?
Well, yeah, they know about the note.
Well, what do they think? I mean, about you're going to see this person alone.
Actually, they don't know.
What do you mean?
Well, they really didn't like the idea, so I promised them that I'd ask Calvin or Cliff to go with me. And that's why I'm here.
Well, that was smart. Look, sure, I'll go.
I gotta work.
Let's go into the bookstore separately so they don't know that we're...
No, you don't understand. I'm asking you to go, Cliff, which doesn't mean I want you to.
You're right. I don't understand.
I really want to find out what this means, what this portrait thing is all about. And I'm afraid if I don't go alone, this person is just going to disappear. But if anybody asks you, if I asked you, then you just say yes, okay? Thanks, Mitzi.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
Hello. That was a very intriguing message you left. What is the answer to the riddle?
I think I figured it out, where Jeff Brown got hold of my life story.
Well, explain it to me, please. Sit down. You want a drink?
Yeah, make it a short one.
What does that mean? It's going to be a short answer?
Yeah, it's a short answer to a very long story. I didn't think I'd ever tell you about this because I thought I would just bore you.
Does it have something to do with Switzerland?
No, it has something to do with Vietnam.
You never told me much about when you were a Marine.
No, I didn't think you'd be interested. It was just boring. Boot camp and all that. But as for the war, I was involved in it for a couple of months before it ended. It ended for most of the guys anyway.
But not for you?
No, my war continued for a while. Did I ever tell you I was a shaved-tailed lieutenant?
I don't know what that means.
That's just a guy that's new at the job. There are a few jobs that you have to get good at, though, and fast, if you follow my meaning. I took some patrols out. There were 6 patrols. I took them out into the jungle. And I came back without a scratch. And then, one night, right before a major evacuation, there was this huge firefight. It was real bad. I'll save you all the gory details. What happened was, I got knocked out by a mortar shell blast. And the next morning, I found myself on this trail walking north. Parade of 1. I was walking to the prison camp.
And you were the only one?
Yeah. I found out later, after the war, a couple months, that whole patrol had been killed. I also found out that I was listed among the MIA.
Missing in action.
Presumed dead. And that's where this guy Jefferson Brown comes in.
Jim, where's the connection?
The files. The personal files, the military files, my diary, all the papers. I don't have any relatives. And so they put them all in a hermetically sealed envelope and they sent them to Washington.
Washington, where Jeff Brown was.
Exactly. He had access to my files. So I figured he found my stuff and he decided to adopt my life story. I guess he didn't mind because he figured I was dead.
But you weren't dead. Oh, Jim, I know that that's the answer because I know that Jeff had access to those files. And do you know, when he was pretending to be you, he told me a story so similar to the one that you just told me, to explain how he'd been wounded and ended up at my father's clinic. Oh, it's just so despicable, though, to steal one man's face and fortune and another man's heroism.
Yeah, this guy's a real turkey, all right. But we're putting it together. Slowly.
Hello? Who is this?
Val, it's Sky Whitney. Finally, officially, Sky Whitney.
Well, what is it you wanted?
Well, we've been through such strange circumstances lately. I'd like to be able to make it up to you, take you out to dinner tonight. I finally got something to celebrate.
Well, I realize you do, and my congratulations, but I'm sorry, I'm busy tonight.
Maybe some other night then.
I don't think so. Goodbye.
This has got to be one of the most unusual cases I've ever heard in this office, and I've heard some pretty weird things.
Well, you
in here.
can't blame Mr. Whitney for being a little bit short-tempered. Can you imagine what he's been going through?
Sure. Nobody believing the truth? Trying to get your identity from a dead man?
And fighting a very determined widow, let me say.
Yeah. She's no pushover. And she might have gotten away with it if all he had were that forced confession.
Forced but true, obviously.
What do you think she's going to do now?
She's going to have to give up quietly. And she doesn't have any other recourse.
Well, he's got another recourse. He could charge her with complicity to commit fraud. He'd have a good case.
Mike would call it a prosecutor's dream. Although I know he hopes it won't happen, just as he hopes Raven's not going to bring charges against the people involved in that scam.
She's got too much to think about anyway, right?
I must tell you, though, that I would like to bring charges against one of them.
Oh, yeah? Who?
Nora Fulton.
Why?
That's because of something she did last night.
What did she do?
Well, she made up her mind she'd pay the Kavanaughs a visit, except she chose a night that we weren't home. Nobody was home except for Adam and Mrs. Goodman.
I don't understand. Why would she go to your place? She was tossed out on her ear.
And for very good reasons, which I'm not going to go into right now, except that one of them was that she didn't get along well with Mrs. Goodman.
They used to go at it toe-to-toe?
Yes, it wasn't a very fair fight. Anyway, she came to see Nicole. She had the wild idea that Nicole might be persuaded to hire her again.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, maybe she's desperate for a job. Anyway, Mrs. Goodman tried to get rid of her, but instead Nora faked a suicide attempt off our terrace.
That woman's crazy.
Crazy like a fox. She tricked Mrs. Goodman into following her onto the terrace and then locked her out there.
Now, wait a minute. This is getting to be serious.
When we came home, Mrs. Goodman was still there. She passed out in the driving rain. See, it was a particularly vicious thing to have done to her because, as Nora well knows, Mrs. Goodman suffers from acrophobia.
Miles, this is pretty close to a criminal offense. In fact, it's close enough for me. I think Nora Fulton needs a little scare of her own.
Mrs. Kavanaugh.
Hello, Nora. May I come in?
Oh, of course. How'd you know I was living here?
Well, you left your forwarding address with Mrs. Whitney, remember? I see you live on the first floor. What's the matter? You afraid of heights?
Again, Mrs. Kavanaugh. I suppose you know that I was at your house last night to discuss the possibility of employment.
Yes, I know you were there. Mrs. Goodman told me all about your visit.
Well, I guess she wasn't very thrilled to see me. Because of the misunderstandings between us.
You must have had quite a misunderstanding last night. For you to lock her out on the terrace.
I did what?
Is that your idea of a funny, practical joke? And knowing that she was afraid of heights must have made it all the more amusing for you.
Mrs. Kavanaugh, I swear to you, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, come on. Are you trying to tell me it never happened?
I told you I did go to your house to talk to you. And if you heard the language your housekeeper used with me, well, you'd lock her out of your home for good.
Oh, so you just decided to do that for me, is that right?
Please listen to me. I went to your house to talk to you, to patch up the differences between us. The only reason we argued in the first place is because of the mistake I made about Chinks Avery. But she's dead now.
Shut up.
We could just forgive and forget.
Look, not everything can be forgiven or forgotten, and especially not what you did to Mrs. Goodman last night. Now, to me, that is a form of assault, and that is a criminal offense. As a matter of fact, my husband is talking to Derek Mallory right now.
But it's a lie. When I left your apartment, that woman was still in the living room, and she was banging on the elevator doors.
Then why did we find her on the terrace, locked out there, lying in the rain, half dead with fright?
She locked herself out, so you'd accuse me.
That is ridiculous.
It's true.
She was afraid you'd hire me back, and you're so stupid you couldn't answer her.
Nora! Now, I almost hit you. I hit you once before. Don't you dare tempt me to do that again.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that very well. In fact, I'll never forget it. Never!
Raven, you must believe that I'm doing this as a friend. I have no bias in this matter. I'm not here as the district attorney or an officer of the court. In fact, I hope we can avoid getting into what could be a disastrous legal battle.
Well, will you just tell me what happened? Obviously, it's in his favor.
Tell her, Mr. Carr.
We were able to get some information, reliable information, about a distinctive physical characteristic which distinguished Jefferson Brown from Skylar Whitney.
What do you mean, a characteristic?
Jefferson Brown had a distinctively shaped scar on his back.
You couldn't have missed it, Mrs. Whitney. It was kind of shaped like a backwards question mark.
Well, I never saw any scar. You must be mistaken.
You mean you never saw your husband's naked back?
There is no question about the existence of the scar. A medical report made while he worked for the State Department established it, and a second autopsy has just been performed. It's there.
And I have no such scar on my back. I trust you don't want me to prove that here in your living room. I should say my living room.
You're lying! You're all just lying. This is just one big conspiracy. You want to punish me just because of what Sky did to Gunther Wagner and Bobby Gerard.
I assure you, those crimes have nothing to do with this one. This is clearly a case of outright fraud.
Well, I am not giving up my house. And I'm not giving up my name.
You may have to give up more than that, Mrs. Whitney.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about jail.
Skylar, is this really necessary?
Well, you heard, Mr. Carr. A crime was committed here, a very serious crime involving millions of dollars.
And as I also said, Mr. Whitney, we want to avoid a legal confrontation.
Yes, but I may choose not to avoid it. I may choose to charge Mrs. Whitney with fraud.
You wouldn't.
You were his wife. You shared his secrets as well as his bed.
Well, I didn't know the truth when we were married. I didn't find out that he was Jefferson Brown until...
Mike, may I suggest that you allow Raven some time to herself now? Time to digest all this and then decide what steps to take.
That's agreeable to me.
Very well. But these steps better be taken soon. I'm tired of living like a pauper.
I'll be in touch with you, Jody. Take care of it.
I've lost everything.
Okay, Babs, what do we got in the fifth?
Well, honey, it's a sloppy track today, so I'd say put a double sawbuck on Land O'Lips.
No, what do you say, Dottie?
No. No way. He doesn't run too well. I'll say bubblegum.
Bubblegum.
Juice on the nose.
Yeah.
Mitz, can I talk to you?
Okay, hold a minute.
Hey, look,
Yeah.
I think we made a big mistake. Shouldn't have let Jody go to that bookstore alone.
What you're so worried about? I go to the bookstore alone lots of times.
Yeah, but you don't get strange notes from strange people. I mean, we don't know who wrote that thing.
Cliff, I don't know. She didn't want you to go. You heard her.
Yeah, I also heard her say that you told Miles and Nicole that I was going to go. Now, that makes me a liar.
Cliff, you know what this whole thing is? It's a gag. I feel it. You know, it's probably that guy that Jody told us about. You know, the one who's painting her portrait.
What do you mean?
Okay, the guy wants to ask Jody out, right? He doesn't have the nerve because Gavin's around, so?
So he sends her a mysterious note.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's very romantic. Only you'd think of something like that.
You don't look convinced.
I'm not. Look, even if this is a joke, you already had one practical joke go bad. I think I want to go browse through that bookstore, okay?
Okay, well, now be careful.
Yeah, I will. Put this on my bill, will you?
Good evening, miss. May I help you?
Well, yeah, maybe you can. I had an appointment to meet somebody here at 6 o'clock.
Oh, come in. Someone was here. He asked me if young lady had been here.
It's funny, I'm only a few minutes late.
Did this have something to do with a painting, miss, a portrait?
Yes, it did. Did he say anything about it?
No, he just gave me envelope to hold for you. In the back room, please, right this way.
Is it right here? The Martyr of Eden. Hey, this envelope is empty. Hey, what are you doing? Hey! Open this door up! Let me out! Come on!
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find. Always on my mind. And frustrated days pass without sight. The edge of night, half dark, half light. Do you think we might wake up someday and be aware of all the games people play?
It's been a long day.
Good evening, miss. May I help you?
Yeah, maybe you can. I had an appointment to meet somebody here at 6 o'clock.
Oh, come on in. There was someone here. He asked me if young lady had been here.
It's funny, I'm only a few minutes late.
Did this have something to do with a painting, a portrait?
Yes, it did. Did he say something about it? Anything about it?
No, but he left envelope with me for you. In the back room. Please, right through there. That's right.
Is that it right here? The Martyr of Eden? Hey, this... Hey, what are you doing? Hey! Hey, what are you doing? Come on, open this door up! Come on, please, let me out! Hey!
I am sorry, but we are closing up.
Wait a minute. A woman had an appointment here. Did you see her?
No, I'm afraid I cannot help you. As you see, there's no one here but me.
It's a woman. She's about this tall. She's got brown hair, brown eyes. She's wearing a pink dress. About 19.
Oh, come to think of it, yes, there was a young lady here, but it was for such a short time.
Well, did she talk to anybody?
Yes, a lady, a middle-aged lady, but they left.
They left?
Yes, together. After 2 or 3 minutes, they went.
Well, what did this middle-aged lady look like?
I cannot describe her. In fact, unless I get very close to you, I cannot describe you.
Oh, I see.
Now, please, go.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry to bother you.
Yes, it's quite all right. Quite all right.
Come on, can anybody hear me? Please, I'm locked in this room! Please, somebody let me out!
Raven, surely you must have known it would be inevitable. You knew that the first confession you made about your husband was the truth.
I hate the word truth.
Well, at least you won't have to hide it anymore. That should be some relief. Not to have to worry every minute about what you say and what you do, or when some small discrepancy will give you away.
No one would have ever found out if it hadn't been for those despicable people who made me think I killed Jinx Avery. It's all their fault.
Be logical. Yes, what they did was wrong. But you can't blame them for the lie you told.
Well, no one would have known it was a lie. I'm sorry. I know you think I'm terrible, but I can't help it. What else could I have done? I couldn't just give my husband away.
I suppose you could call it a moral dilemma.
Yes, I had to stand by his side.
There were alternatives. You could have persuaded this Jefferson Brown not to go through with the deception. You could have used your own influence.
No, he never would have listened. He had a will of iron.
Did you ever try to make him listen?
Oh, Geraldine, you just don't understand how it was.
You might try telling me about it.
We were married in this very room. I was so happy. I've never been happier in my life. I mean, I've been married before, and I did love those other men, but Schuyler Whitney, he was everything I have ever wanted in a man, and richer. And then I found that picture.
What picture, Raven?
Oh, well, you know, Schuyler was so secretive, and he had that little private room with all his private little papers. If he hadn't been so private, I wouldn't have been so curious.
Yes, that sounds like you. Is that where you found the photograph?
Yes. And it was obviously taken in Switzerland. And the very first thing I noticed about it was the fact that Valerie Bryson was in it. And then, on our honeymoon in New York...
Right. I want a pair for tonight, and I want a pair for every evening this week and matinees. Oh, yeah, I really wanted to see that one. I heard real good things about it. Uh-huh. All right, so you'll leave the tickets to the box office. Good. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Schuyler, where did you get that scar?
Oh, well, you know, I hardly ever think about it anymore. It's a minor accident some years ago.
Oh.
I never told you I was perfect.
And that was when I realized the meaning of that picture. That the scar on Sky's back was really the other man's in the picture. Jefferson Brown.
So, Schuyler didn't just admit the fraud, he was found out.
Yes. And then he confessed it. He told me everything.
No, that's right. I wasn't a dead ringer for Sky, but people who knew me slightly would never know the difference. Especially after the plane crash.
Of course. They would all figure it was from the accident.
That's right. Even the little scars that were left from the operation, they could be easily explained away. But the most important thing was the people who knew Sky well, I mean the people here in Monticello, hadn't seen him in 14 years. And he only had one living relative, one dear old aunt.
Geraldine. And you fooled her.
You bet I fooled her, just as I fooled all those bankers and the lawyers. You know, I'd be surprised how well people treat you when you've got money, Raven, that it may be the single most important attribute of wealth. And I knew if I could fool Geraldine, I would have it made. I'd be Schuyler Whitney for the rest of my life.
You became a co-conspirator and remained one, even after his death.
Well, I couldn't just give up everything. My house, my cars, my clothes, my jewels, my furs. Without those things, I'm nothing.
It's been your whole trouble all your life, Raven, thinking those things made you what you are.
Yes, you're right. It's not the things that are important. It's the money. And now all the money belongs to him. All of it.
Well, Spencer, we're finally there. We finally made it to the end of the road. Is your cup here?
The last time we drank to the end of the road, Raven pulled that rabbit out of her hat. You know, I should have known that she was going to deny that confession she made to me.
No more rabbits this time, Spencer. This time we got the law on our side. Soon we're going to be drinking fine champagne and not this cheap stuff. And we'll be drinking it out of crystal. We're not going to be drinking out of paper cups. To you, Spencer, to you who made it all possible.
I'm just glad it's over, Sky.
Well, it's not entirely over. There's one other thing. Remember a long time ago I promised you that when it was over, I'd make it up to you? I'd give you whatever you wanted? Well, the time has come. What do you want?
I don't want a gift, Sky. I want a job.
You want a job? No, Spencer, I'll give you some money if you invest it properly. You can live on it for the rest of your life.
No, I don't think I'd enjoy being a rich bum any more than a poor one.
Spencer, you're not a bum. Didn't you tell me once you started working when you were, what, 12 or something?
Yes, I dropped out of school to haul lumber for my father until he died and the yard failed. At that time, the only jobs in town available were with the wealthy families, servant jobs. Seems like I've been someone's servant ever since. I don't mean for this to be a sad story, Sky. I have done rather well. I have acquired an education that I probably never would have gotten. I've met some interesting people. It's just that right now I feel that I should be doing something other than opening car doors, answering doorbells.
Well, you're certainly capable of it, Spencer. I mean, I've seen you at work, and you're a pretty sharp cookie. You're a little bit devious, but you're sharp.
Thank you.
And honest, too. And you're stubborn. Those qualities that I can use.
How?
Do you want a job? I'll give you a job. I'll give you a very important job. I need somebody to manage my affairs. I'd just like to be my business manager.
Well, for the time being, I don't think I mind answering a door. My God.
I thought nothing could surprise you, Spencer. Well, is the boss here?
Hey, I'm here, Gunther.
Well, I'll be damned. It's true. You are alive, huh?
That's right. Here, grab that. I'm alive, all right? We both have come back from the dead. And now my staff is almost complete.
Good luck.
Of weeks.
But why? Never mind, I can guess. She wanted to wait until her boyfriend got home.
Exactly. She felt that by posing for me in his absence, that it was a form of disloyalty, like cheating or something.
I hope you talked her out of it.
Of course. I told her how disappointed you would be if the portrait were delayed. But what I think really got her is when I pleaded poverty. I told her I needed the money, which is no lie.
Dear boy, if only you would be less stubborn and accept the money your family offers you. Well, all right. I won't argue the point. As long as all is well between you and your subject.
Excuse me, Mr. Endicott.
Yes, Joseph, what is it?
I came to remind you about your 6:30 appointment. The gentleman is here.
Yes, of course.
He's getting a little impatient.
Hey, there's no problem, John. Leave it.
Chad, about your subject, turn on the charm, my boy. Don't waste these golden moments for the lovely young woman.
Well, I'll do my best. Good night, Mr. Endicott.
Good night, Chad. All right, Joseph, show him in. Hello, Eddie. I don't think I've seen you at the gallery, have I?
That makes sense, being you never invited me.
Well, it was all in the interests of discretion, Eddie. I'm sure you can appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm just crazy about discretion. In fact, I think about it all the time.
Yeah. Suppose you tell us why you're here, Eddie.
Yeah, I'll tell you why I'm here. I'm here to find out why you bums had my boy Vince wasted.
Talking about wasted? What does that mean, Joseph? Eddie, you're joking.
All right, come on.
Has some harm come to our little burglar?
What are you giving me the lip service for? He was a punk, but he was family. His old man was one of my best torpedoes, and he was my first cousin. Now, if you guys wanted to bury one of my mechanics, you should have asked for a sit-down. Those are the rules.
What makes you think we would do such a reprehensible thing?
You know why? Because you were afraid the kid was going to turn canary, that's why, and blow your little insurance scam here.
Hey, watch your tongue. Mr. Endicott, don't pull no scams.
You, Joe, you're the one who did it. It had your sloppy trademark all over it. Take another step, go ahead. I'll peel your face just like a grape.
That's enough. Please remember where you are.
Yeah, that's right. We're in an art gallery. And your mechanic over there, oh, he's a terrific painter. His only problem is he paints in one color.
Should I show the gentleman out, Mr. Endicott?
Let me tell you something, Mr. Big-Time Heavyweight. You may think you're my boss. You may think you're the big guy.
All right? You may be calling the shots up to now, but I got a flash for you. A hot flash. Our guys need me as much as they need you. In fact, they may not need you as much as you think.
Why, Eddie, I never realized you thought so deeply about these organizational matters.
Yeah. I may not know pistachio from pistachio or any of that stuff, but I know my business. Now, you are a terrific front guy. In fact, you're about the best there is. But you made a little mistake. You see, you moved into my territory when you started burying my guys.
Maybe we'll tell him you did it, Eddie. Like you say, it's an art gallery. Nice place to frame somebody.
Now, let's not get over-emotional. Eddie, I assure you I had nothing to do with your family problem.
Yeah, like you had nothing to do with planting that little flake in my office. What's her name, the cute little poppy, huh?
Why would I do a thing like that?
Why? I'll tell you why. So you can keep an eye on me. Check it out, see what I'm doing. Check the money coming in and going out. That's why. And another reason, too, to make sure I didn't do too good a job, because it might make you look bad, right?
Hey, I make a motion we adjourn the meeting. Do I hear a second?
You sure you're not going to miss from there, huh?
Joseph, I second the motion.
Yeah, I guess maybe I was thinking about Smiley when I got dressed this morning. Just don't feel like wearing bright colors.
Sid, I just don't think you should be mourning that guy. I mean, he just wasn't honest.
Yeah, I know. He wasn't even honest with me. I guess the only reason that he dated me was because he thought I had some money stashed away.
No, Sid, it wasn't just that. I mean, I think Smiley really liked you. I really do. It's just that, there was something you liked even more.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm not, even feeling sorry for him. Maybe what I'm really doing is feeling sorry for myself.
Sid, you are a terrific person, and don't you ever forget that.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
You know, maybe you're just lonely or something.
Yeah. Maybe I ought to get myself a dog.
Isn't that against health regulations?
Well, you know what they say. If you like it, it's either illegal, immoral, or fat. Hey, where'd you disappear to?
I went to a bookstore.
Hey, did you see Jody?
No. This nearsighted old man who owns the place said that she met a middle-aged lady and then went out.
Well, I don't know what you look so worried about. I mean, it doesn't sound exactly threatening.
Because I shouldn't have let her go there alone. Unless she asked me to.
Hey, Cliff, don't worry about it. Jody's a big girl now.
Yeah, but I'd feel terrible if something happened to her.
The Martyr of Eden. Now, that has to do something with the portrait, right? Right. What?
The answer to your question is no. We don't want to hurt you.
Who are you? And why do you have me locked in this room?
We just want to talk with you.
Who does? And if you want to talk to me, why lock me in here? Well, why didn't you call me on the phone? How about writing me a letter?
But we couldn't. We couldn't afford to be seen with you. You better believe me, honey. You couldn't risk being seen with us.
Why? Who are you? Who's us?
Do you want a drink?
No, I don't drink.
It's only wine. This is the wine from our country.
What country? You mean Eden?
We should wait for Pietro. He'll be here in a minute.
Pietro? Wait a second, is that the guy?
Pietro isn't his real name. My name isn't real either, but you can call me Viva.
You mean they're aliases?
Not criminal aliases, no. We use them to protect our family and friends from the reprisals of the government.
Reprisals? Oh, wait a second. Oh, I get it. This is a joke, isn't it? It's another one of those scams, right? That's it.
It's no joke, I promise.
Oh, yeah, I bet you that's exactly what they told Raven Whitney. But why me? Why pick on me? What did I do?
We have an entire country at stake. Do you think this is a joke?
What country? Eden? Is that the country you're talking about? Tell me. It is you.
You are the guy who tried to attack me
I'm very sorry about that. It was very stupid. Please understand, I'm an amateur. I'm not used to doing things like that. Or like this, either. Neither is Viva, although she seems to be able to handle it.
Well, why are you doing this if it bothers you so much?
I was recruited for this job.
What job?
To recruit you. I think that the grapes of Eden are too sweet to make a respectable wine. But we who grew up drinking it like it better than any other.
So what does that mean? That you were both born in Eden?
Yes. But we've been in the United States for the past 4 years. We were students at Monticello University.
Pietro still is. He's taking his postgraduate in the fall, in math.
You know, this might never have happened to us if we'd been in some Eastern college, or one in England or Canada. But we were here, in Monticello, so we were the logical choice.
Especially since you were here, too.
Look, this is what I don't understand. What do I have to do with this, whatever it is?
Whatever it is simple enough or complex enough, depending on your point of view. Our country is dying, Jody. It's dying in full sight of the world, and nobody even realizes it.
I don't know anything about your country.
Not many people do, or care.
You know what a dictatorship is, don't you, Jody?
Yes, but I thought, I heard that Eden is a republic, a democracy.
Yes. The people did vote for their government. But they put a president in for 6 years and just kept him there.
Well, then why do you call it a dictatorship?
Because the people don't realize that they elected a puppet who's being run by criminals who are now running our country.
Look, I don't know anything about politics.
I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about crime. I'm talking about criminals, gangsters, what some people would call a mob, a gang, a syndicate, I don't give a damn what you call it. These animals own our country. They've raped it. They're here in America, but they own the so-called Free Republic of Eden. They run it any way they want and for their own benefit.
How can that be?
Because our beloved leader let them.
These last 4 years, they have turned Eden into a haven for international criminals, for a laundry for their dirty money, and what's even worse, they have turned it into a depot for narcotics. Eden is now the major stockpile for most of the drugs in the world. And that's what they've turned our country into.
We want to save our country. We want to raise it out of its darkness and shine a bright light on the heretics who want to destroy it. And you can help us save it, Jody.
Me? How am I going to help you?
The paper.
All right, I've seen this, and I don't know what it means. The martyr of Eden. Who is the martyr of Eden?
You are.